1995, Oklahoma constitutional militia members are arrested as they plan to bomb the Southern Poverty Law Center. In December of that year, a drum of ammonium nitrate and fuel oil is found behind the IRS building in Reno, Nevada. In 96, a member of the Aryan Republic is arrested in Ohio after a shootout with the FBI. That's just the beginning of a long, long, long list of the modern militia movement. Mark Potok is with us. He is with the Southern Poverty Law Center. SPLcenter.org is their website. Great organization, worthy of your support. He's the director of the intelligence project there. Mark, what is the state of right-wing hate and right-wing hate groups in the United States? How organized or disorganized are they? Need we be more concerned about the institutions and websites and whatnot, or about the so-called lone wolves? What's going on?
Well, relatively disorganized. However, there has been a pretty significant growth in these groups. By our count, in the year 2000, there were 602 groups operating in the United States. As of the end of last year, of 2008, that had reached 926. In other words, we saw a 54% growth in the number of these groups. That growth was driven very largely by the group's use of the issue of immigration. They were very successful. They basically dropped all their rhetoric about, the evils of black people, of yellow people, of gay people, of the Jews, and concentrated on immigration, and it worked. It helped them to bring quite a lot of people into the movement. In the last year, though, we've seen a couple of additional factors play into that, and they are, of course, the election of Obama, which has enraged people on the right, or especially on the radical right, and to a lesser extent, the crumbling economy. So all of that is contributing, and it really has been a fairly remarkable spate of violence. It's mostly come from lone wolves, as you suggest, as this man who shot up the Holocaust Museum appears to have been. In other words, people who act on their own, not in connection with any group or even a cell of people working together. Mm-hmm. But, in some ways, this kind of, movement where you've got a lot of smaller, disorganized groups that don't seem to be working in concert at all, other than ideologically in an overall way, is in some ways the most dangerous scene, because what we don't have is, at this point, is major leaders who, as noxious as they are, ultimately, I think, have the effect of holding their followers back.
In other words, at least when there was a David Duke, he was a restraining influence?
That's right. Even a William Pierce, a big neo-Nazi leader who, talked about, we've got to, there'll be a temporary unpleasantness when we come to power as we put all the Jews and the race mixers to death. But nevertheless, he really said to his to his
Keep
people,
your powder dry.
Yeah, basically, yes, boys, we'll be killing the Jews, but that's next week. Keep your guns in your holsters for now. Right. Now we've got a small scene from the point of view of these groups. Of course, what they see is the world going to hell in a handbasket. A black man is leading this country. The Census Bureau is predicting that by 2042, whites will lose their majority. We're under a relatively liberal administration, so all of this looks a great deal like the end of the world to them. And, I look at a guy like the Holocaust Museum shooter, and it also looks, in his case, this guy was 88 years old. It looks like James von Brunn, very possibly. He's a guy who'd spent 40-some years in the movement, felt that before he died, by golly, he was going to sort of take a few with him. He was going to go out in a blaze of glory. He was presumably going to enter the pantheon of Aryan heroes.
Yeah, that's what his wife said.
All that.
He had bragged to her about how he was going to die with his boots on.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They'll remember me forever, a great hero of the Aryan race. And, that's essentially speculation, but, that's what I think is really going on here.
What do we do? Mark Potok, Southern Poverty Law Center, SPLcenter.org. What do we do?
Well, I think the first thing, certainly from our point of view, is awareness of this movement. I think, it's very important that people know that this is a real movement and that these are not merely, psychopaths operating
but here's
at the
the
very
problem.
fringes.
When the federal government, the Bush administration actually initiated the document, issues a report on this, the right-wing extremism, current economic and political climate, et cetera, the assessment from the Department of Homeland Security, it's attacked right across the board. I mean, Janet Napolitano, just day before yesterday, was again apologizing for this thing.
Well, I think that DHS had nothing to apologize for. I have read the document, unlike, the vast majority of commentators out there who are sort of fulminating about it. And, in my view, the document was essentially a sober assessment of what was going on out there.
Yeah.
I mean, basically what it says is there appears to be a resurgence of the radical right. We've got, and it mentions parenthetically that there are a lot of veterans coming home from the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. And, of course, the radical right is interested in those people. They have very high-end military skills, and that's appealing to these groups. That's about what the document said. What it provoked was a reaction, a kind of hysterical reaction from the Rush Limbaughs of the world, from the right wing of the Republican Party, and really virtually the entire Republican Party. And I think it was an absolute tempest in a teacup. I think it was a way for the right to attack the Obama administration. It did not seem, from my point of view, not that anyone was asking my opinion, at all necessary that Napolitano had to go out there and make some kind of apology for it. I think the report essentially reflected reality, and this latest event simply underlines that.
Yeah, we need to wake up America to what's going on and point out how crazy these guys are so that within their own communities they begin being ostracized. Mark Potok, he is the director of the Intelligence Project at the Southern Poverty Law Center, splcenter.org. Check it out, a great website. Thank you, Mark.
And thank you, Tom. I appreciate it.